Tonight on Stand Up for the Week, Seann Walsh, Josh Widdicombe, Romesh Ranganathan, Angela Barnes, Simon Evans. But now, please welcome your host, Paul Chowdhury.
Yeah, welcome to Stand Up for the Week. What's happening, white people? So happy Christmas, everyone. A survey has basically said that if the nativity took place today, the most likely location would have been Yorkshire, and they probably would have stayed at a travel lodge.
I'm sorry, mate, the stable is full. I'm afraid you'll have to stay in the travel lodge with all the other animals.
Have you seen travel lodge customers? It's hard to work out which ones are genuinely pregnant. It's appropriate the nativity's in a travel lodge because most of the women there don't know who the father of their baby is either. One of the places they suggested, other than a travel lodge, was a bus stop in Yorkshire. But you shouldn't give birth in the same place you conceived in. This Japanese guy started a new trend when he posted some romantic pictures of himself online with his girlfriend, right? Here he is. That's him being fed by his girlfriend. And here he is with his girlfriend. It's him. That's not a selfie, that's an all-by-his selfie. He's called this a one-man date. Most blokes have a one-man date every night. Only difference is they don't have to buy their hand a meal first. Here's another picture of him on the train, very sweet, kissing on the train. Sweet couple. Let's take a look at the other side. Nutcase. This Chinese factory worker who lost his hand in an accident, right, basically got it sewn back onto his foot to keep it alive. Here it is. That's a bit near the knuckle, isn't it? After the accident, he was quite depressed, and his mum said, "Come on, mate, pull your socks up." He must be great at Twister. Imagine the arguments when he's playing football. A French cafe has started offering customers discounts for having good manners. There's the sign in the restaurant, Pricks de Café and Tesserie. Un café, €7. Coffee, please, €4.25. Coffee, please, Dave, $1.40. The only French restaurant I go to is called Pret a Manger, where all the staff are Eastern European. And it costs £4.50 a sandwich. For £4.50, I could get an Eastern European prostitute. And she could make me a sandwich. You know, the first phrase English kids learn at school is "Ouvre la fenêtre." Anyone knows what that means? Open the window. Because it fucking stinks over there. The mayor of Calais said that 15,000 illegal immigrants were coming over to Britain, right? Because even illegal immigrants don't want to stay in France. Oh, monsieur, how would you like to stay in this villa in Provence?
No, thank you. I will just cling to the bottom of a lorry and try and make it to Birmingham.
So a diver in the Bahamas is selling trips for tourists where they can hand feed sharks. Look at this idiot. You only get 2 goes. It looks like an advert for Claims Direct.
Have you had an accident at the workplace?
Well, I put my head in the shark's mouth. I wasn't supposed to be there.
didn't know what happened. It's incredible, isn't it? You know? Sharks kill people all the time, but you only ever hear about it when it's a white tourist. You know, you never hear about it the other way around.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Is that CNN? Yeah, a man has been eaten by a shark. No, he was black. Hello? 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 He put the phone down.
Do you know that in India, 46,000 people a year get killed by snake bites? Why don't they just drink something else? You ready to start the show tonight? Here with all the entertainment news, please welcome Seann Walsh.
Thank you, yes. Good. So, here we are. Entertainment news. This week, it was the X Factor final. Yeah. More people tuned in to watch the Great British Bake Off than X Factor. Do you know that? Yeah, you're happy about that? There you go. That's it. That's unbelievable. Baking is now more popular than singing. That's happened. Bakers are now the cool ones. Bakers. This is what's going to happen. There's going to be crowds of teenage girls screaming outside the back of Greg's. Like, ah! Waiting for a baker to come out. There he is! There he is! Can I lick your spoon, please? Let me lick your spoon, please! Fainting. Oh, God! Someone! Someone, please! Please, someone! A baker getting out a piping bag. There you go, darling. There you go. Nice, nice bit of icing down the crack. There you go. You're gonna get indie bakers. Indie baker. Indie baker. People are gonna try and outdo each other. Cool kids, cool indie bakers, going like, yeah, like sort of. I like the traditional hand whisk, you know. I never forgave Kipling for going electric. Me and the guys, like, we've come up with like this new recipe. It's like sort of like old school Battenberg meets like lemon drizzle bizzle, you know. It's like indie boy baker songs. Just recipes. Going, heat the oven to 180 degrees. Gas mask for butter 2 times a centimetre. Sandwich tins aligned with crisp paper. Beat together the butter and sugar until the mixture looks brown and fluffy. You know, here's one I made earlier. Simon Cowell is rumoured to be coming back, but he's a dad now. That's going to be very different. It's just going to be knackered all the time. It's hard picturing Simon as a dad, isn't it? Yeah. Where's he going to get the nappies that come up to here? Simon Cowell's child. Better hope that he's got the X Factor. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not going to get any praise otherwise, is he? Hey, look, Daddy, I drew a picture, look! That looks nothing like your mum. You stupid little shit. You better go and get another dad if you think that's going on my fridge. Nursery rhymes are going to be a lot less fun, aren't they? I didn't believe for a second that you weren't sure that that black sheep didn't have wool. Jack and Jill. Quite frankly, I wish I'd broken my crown so I wouldn't have to listen to your monotonous shit. I think the problem the X Factor has now, the reason the ratings are going down, is because we all know how it works, don't we? You know, to win X Factor, you need to have a depressing backstory and be quite good at karaoke. That's it, really, isn't it? That's what it is. That's it. Yeah, no, right. It doesn't matter how great your voice is. You can't win X Factor if you've had a privileged life. That video would be very different, wouldn't it? Hi, I'm Humphrey. I grew up in Primrose Hill. Now, I don't want to make out that I was there all the time, but sometimes we went to the second home in the south of France. If you look over here, this is an orphanage that when I was younger, my parents bought me. Very profitable, surprising. I was always popular at school. Kids loved hanging around with me. Boys and girls, good looking and funny. One tip I would say is, don't give up. I'll never forget I told my careers advisor I wanted to be a singer, and he said, go for it. You're probably the best singer I've ever heard in my entire life. And in my dreams. And when I imagine you during the day. You are the best. If I don't make this, you know, I'll just have to go back to my really, really well-paid job with great bonuses. Did I lose my dad? I lost my dad when I was 15. It was at Heathrow. We thought he was in Carluccio's. Turns out he was in the Burberry store. Not a problem. Winning X Factor is part of my 5-year plan. It's going to be great. I don't even need to plan it. I'm definitely going to win. And don't you worry about me. When it comes to girls, I was absolutely dripping in pussy. It wouldn't be the same, would it? The beautiful, the best. Thank you for coming. Take care. I'm Seann Walsh. Just had to say the news goodbye. Pussy.
Seann Walsh. Are you ready for your next act? Here with all this week's headline news, please welcome Josh Widdicombe.
Hello. Now, here are the headline news. The big headline for me this week is China have just completed their first successful mission to the moon, which is very impressive, isn't it? Yeah, and only 44 years after the Americans managed it. They said it shows their economic power. Yeah, it's 4 decades behind us. They're saying that shows your economic power. It's like me turning up here and going, not just saying I'm doing well for myself, but I've just bought a VHS machine, so... What's this? Uncle Buck on video, so come round if you ever want to watch it. It's unbelievable. You can't just copy what we've done and claim, you know, it's a great scientific achievement. What they can do next? Go, oh, we've invented the wheel. We've invented the car. We've invented the George Foreman grill. We fucking did that. I mean, to give you an idea how unimpressive it is going to the moon, Wallace and Gromit managed it 15 years ago. I mean, when your space program is behind a silent dog, you are fucking shit. They said their spaceship, right, so it went to the moon and then it landed last week in the Bay of Rainbows, which sounds like the moon's #1 gay club, doesn't it? Right, what I didn't realise, right, they haven't even sent a person up to the moon, the Chinese. They sent a robot, right? That is not as interesting. Because the best thing about space travel is the characters. My favourite spaceman is Frank Borman. If you don't know Frank Borman, he is the only astronaut that has ever got diarrhea in zero gravity. I would describe that as quite literally the worst case scenario. I mean, that is not a message when you go, Houston, we have a mother of all fucking problems here. So they took off. Obviously, there was the Chinese space program. There was the usual countdown: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then the person on the other side of the phone said, "You do realise you've only ordered starters." And then the problem with the Chinese space program is once you've had one, you want another one 20 minutes later. There's another one. Hey, thank you very much. My favourite thing about the Chinese space program, there was the comments on the Daily Mail website on the story. There was one that said, I don't see the point of this. I think the best place to live is Earth. I mean, unless you're Neil Armstrong, you haven't got a fucking right to judge, mate. I mean, no one was planning on moving to the moon. I'm not going to move to Zone 3. I mean, the moon is just a shit version of it. They haven't got water, oxygen, anywhere to plug in your mobile. It's fucking shit. I mean, if I wanted to move somewhere that was miles away from anything and no one was there, I'd go back to Devon. My favourite comment was someone who said, oh, by the time we get up to the moon, there'll be Chinese and Indian takeaways. No, there won't. No, that's not a viable business. No, well, a leaflet through your door, we deliver to a radius of 250,000 miles. No, I'm not going to book from you, because I imagine by the time it gets to me, it'll be fucking cold. Actually, it won't be, because it would burn up on re-entry, wouldn't it? But you should never reheat your rice. Very dangerous. Not the worst space program, China. The worst is Iran, who recently claimed to have sent a monkey into space. Let's have a look at that monkey. There he is. No, I don't know how monkeys are affected by going into space, but seemingly it turns them into a different fucking monkey. Because he has gone up with a mole, and then it's no longer there when he's come back. He's not been into space, he's been on a pampering weekend. But the big debate in Britain this week is over Heathrow and whether they should build a third runway, which I found shocking, because they've only got 2 runways at Heathrow. I couldn't believe. I presume they had fucking loads of them. They have more W.H. Smiths than runways at Heathrow. Basically, Heathrow is just a newsagent with excellent transport links. One suggestion they said is they might not build a third runway, they might just lengthen another one. I mean, all you're doing if you lengthen a runway is building a road. That is what you're doing there. But people next to Heathrow are complaining. They said if there's a third runway, there'll be too much noise. I would say if you have moved next to Heathrow, you shouldn't really complain about the noise of planes. Complaining they've got a third runway is like going, fucking hell, my neighbour's only gone to get a second drum kit. I mean, are they next to Heathrow, banging on the walls, going, keep it down, it's late. You can see you're having a rave, there's a guy with glow sticks on the runway. But Boris Johnson wants to build a new airport on an island, this is true, which is, he's dubbed Boris Island. That is not the name of an airport, that is the shittest ever sequel to Jurassic Park. So is it dangerous? Well, it is if you don't wear a helmet on the bikes. You have been genuinely absolutely lovely. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure doing stand-up today. Thank you. Cheers. Cheers. Good. Bye.
Still to come, Romesh Ranganathan, Angela Barnes, Simon Evans.
Welcome back to Stand Up for the Week. Are you having a good time? Now, with all the news from the world of sport, please welcome Romesh Ranganathan.
Thank you. Sports news. Andre Villas-Boas got the sack, the Tottenham manager. He got sacked. Here he is, good-looking man, good-looking man. People feel sorry for him. I don't feel sorry for him, right? Because all these Premier League managers, when they get sacked, they get a massive payout. It's amazing, right? If I got a massive payout, if I got sacked, I wouldn't finish my set here, right? I'd just take a shit on the stage and leave. I'm not going to bother finishing. I mean, I used to be a teacher, right? If I knew that I could stop teaching to get a massive payout, I'd just write "you're thick" on every piece of homework. Punch a kid in the face, organise a school trip to Spearmint Rhino. I'm not going to bother. And the thing is, right, it's difficult to motivate a team if you're a manager when basically your job is a lot less secure than their job is, right? You're talking to a bunch of people who, if they don't do well, you're the one that's in trouble. It's not much of a threat to say to your team, now listen, lads, you better step your game up. You better get out there and play, because if you don't, mark my words, I'll be out of a job. I mean, he shouldn't have been fired. That's the truth of it, right? He was actually all right. The thing is, managers are getting less and less time in the job. We're going to get to a situation where a manager's saying, well, I'm really excited about taking over this team, and I can only hope that I provide a better team for my successor to take over in the second half. I mean, most of these managers are dealing with people that are earning a lot more money than they are. It's a very difficult situation to manage. You can't imagine the manager of Sainsbury's having to go out to the car park, watch the guys tidying up the trolleys and going, "You lucky, lucky bastards." Sports Personality of the Year was on this week. And the thing I like about Sports Personality of the Year is that basically what they've done is they've made a 2-hour programme of sports people doing the thing that they are shittest at, which is talking coherently, right? Plus, the issue is they have it on the BBC, right? The BBC is so sedate. I want to see them put it on a better channel, something more exciting. Put it on Dave, yeah? Then it'll be exciting. They'll have much better categories, yeah? Biggest legend on a night out. Player that cast the biggest shadow in the shower. Award for player most likely to shag your mum. I mean, I think Andy Murray actually proved himself to be a bit of a legend. Yeah, because he was saying, he was admitting that he was boring. He sort of said, "I know it's difficult to support me, I've got a very boring voice." And then you have these people on Twitter complaining, "Oh, he hasn't got a personality. How can they call it sports personality? Isn't that ironic?" Oh, I'm sure you're extremely interesting, aren't you? As you comment on Twitter while you sit alone in your living room with a bucket of fried chicken, organising your World of Warcraft Christmas party. There's been loads in the papers about alleged match fixing, right? I read a story about one bloke playing football. He smacked someone in the balls twice to get sent off. And then the thing that I don't understand about this is, right, what happens if you've been given a bribe to get sent off and the referee has been given a bribe to not send anyone off? What happens then? You're going to get a situation where the player's shagging the ref's missus, going, "Look at this, you prick!" And the refs just go, "I'm just going to have to play the advantage." I mean, you've got to feel bad for the other guy involved in this, right? Because he basically got punched in the nuts twice, right? And he doesn't know why. He doesn't know there was a bribe. We're just thinking, I thought we got on. I don't know what... I mean, he punched me in the balls and I was like, "Mate, just chill out." He did it again. And then you get to a situation where, you know when you think you've offended somebody, so you send them a text message, they don't reply. You send them another text message, they don't reply. You end up looking like a fucking psycho. Imagine this guy trying to text, trying to find out what's happened. 5:38 p.m, "Hey man, bit weird earlier. Just wanted to check everything's cool." 5:48 p.m, "Hey fella, sorry to bang on about this, but just wondering if we're okay. Just got a funny feeling after the second punch to the balls. Just want to check we're cool, lol." 6:10 p.m, "Hey dude, it's cool if you are pissed off. Just wanted to check either way." 2:02 a.m, "Are you in town? Really want to sort this out right now. I'm upstairs in Yates's." 3:16 a.m, "Well, fuck you then." 9:46 a.m, "Sorry about last night." Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Romesh Ranganathan, this has been the Sports. Thank you very much!
Romesh Ranganathan. Yeah. Now, to tell us all the first world news, please welcome Angela Barnes.
Be here. I'm Angela, and I'm here to talk about the first world news. Now, there's a major first world news item this week. You may or may not have heard about it. The marketing's been very subtle. It's apparently Christmas. Yeah, I know. Does anyone know, right, when Christmas suddenly became so German? Does anyone else notice this? There isn't an open space in Britain in December that isn't transformed into a Bavarian market, right? Selling random German food and drink. It's like the world's turned into an outdoor Lidl. It came first for our groceries, now they've come for Christmas. Watch it, it's a slippery slope. Right? I mean, people get snobby about Lidl and Aldi. I'm not picking on it, because I bloody love Lidl and Aldi. Do we like Lidl and Aldi? I love it. My favourite thing about Lidl and Aldi is the surprise aisle. Do you know what I mean? When it goes groceries, Argos has vomited, groceries. I used to live near a Lidl, right? Lidl used to be my local shop where I lived in Brighton. Now, my flatmate nipped in there once to get some milk, right? Then I get a call from him. Can you come and pick me up? I said, why? He said, I've bought a drum kit. Amazing. Amazing. I popped down to my local Bavarian winter wonderland, right? Because every town's got one, haven't they? Have you been? Have you been to a winter wonderland? Yeah, I think it's called Wonderland, right? Because it makes you wonder how much fucking money they must be making. Right, and they are full of booze, aren't they? Full of booze. Like, there's mulled wine, mulled cider, mulled mead, mulled vodka. I think there's one in Croydon that does mulled WKD. Oh, yeah, it really is a magical place where you can get pissed in front of your kids. It's great. My favourite winter wonderland of the year has popped up in Milton Keynes. Now, the website advertised a pretty idyllic scene. Here it is. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful, doesn't it? But, you know, ideals are hard to live up to, people. So this is what it actually looked like. Is it? That's a place where you go to slaughter pigs. See more Christmassy-looking graveyards. And, allegedly, they only had adult skates for hire. Oh, yeah, there's nothing kids like more, is there, than watching Mum and Dad ice skate? What? Well, that's the ice rink, right? So maybe they just got the ice rink wrong. Maybe we can have a look and see how the rest of Winter Wonderland looked. I mean, we do try and teach our kids at Christmas, don't we, to think about children worse off than them. So why not make a Winter Wonderland that looks like a refugee camp? I mean, really bring it home. They can have adverts in Africa for just £2. You could improve the life of a disappointed child in Milton Keynes. Surely the one thing you can't fuck up, right? The one thing you can't get wrong is Santa, right? You just need a big, jolly, red-faced man with a beard. But we are in a country with an obesity crisis. Are you telling me they couldn't find a single fat bloke in Milton Keynes? Right? Father Christmas looks more like a father for justice. The next story I want to talk to you about today is, it's come out recently that the average wedding now costs £18,000. Right, now, I don't know about you. If I'm going to spend 18 grand on something, I want to be able to drive away in it, right? Or if I'm up north, live in it. Now, this week, the niece of the steel magnate Lakshmi Mittal got married in Spain. Now, her wedding cost £50 million. Right? Now, to put that into some perspective, the 2012 Olympic opening ceremony cost £27 million, right? What did they have? The actual Queen jumping out of a helicopter? What the fuck? Here's the groom. Right, here he is. 50 million quid, couldn't afford a car for him, apparently. Right? I mean, you'd think he'd be embarrassed, wouldn't you, about his bride's family paying for everything? But then, turns out he used to work for RBS, so he's used to spunking other people's money up the wall. I mean, good luck to him. Good luck to him. I'm happy. I'm just bitter. Because, you know, do you remember when you were younger, right, and you'd have all those drunken conversations with members of the opposite sex, right? There went something along the lines of, if we're not married by the time we're such and such age, we should totally marry each other. Of course, what you're saying is I wouldn't fuck you now if you were the last man on earth, but as I get older, my standards will slip. Now, I'm now approaching such and such age, right, and I don't know how legally binding that verbal contract is. All I know is I bumped into one of these pals recently. He's got a countdown app on his iPhone to my 40th birthday. He's a police community support officer, and I'm not that desperate yet. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been absolutely lovely. I've been Angela Barnes. Thank you very much.
Still to come, Simon Evans.
Welcome back to Stand Up for the Week. Are you ready for your final act? Here with all the news from Middle England, please welcome Simon Evans.
This week, Middle England has been mourning the death of one of its favourite heroes, I suppose, a legend, really, an icon. I refer, of course, to one of the natural knights of the theatre, the great Peter O'Toole. R.I.P. Yes. A great actor, a man of elegance and class and élan, who made, of course, one of history's great debuts as Lawrence of Arabia. What a movie. Rarely off the Christmas television schedules in my youth. 3 hours and 48 minutes. Not a single female-speaking part in the entire film. That's what I call Christmas. That was another era, of course. A great actor, but more to the point, I think we can all agree, a great, really great drunk. We don't see enough really proper old-school, steam-powered drunks in public life these days. Lost weekends, O'Toole lost entire decades. He woke up literally in countries he couldn't remember having entered. And he did all this, let's not forget, on single, old-fashioned, unalloyed booze. Not like today's young people, like many of you, I imagine, who require something called Jaeger bombs to keep going after 11 o'clock at night. I'll tell you what I call a Jaeger bomb, finding out your wife has blown about $1,000 on a new coat from a branch of Jaeger on your credit card statement. That'll keep you up at night. You might not feel like dancing, but you'll be awake all right. But O'Toole, Richard Burton, Oliver Reed, these were classy old-school drunks. The point about these men was that they're theatrically trained drunks. They loved the sound of their own voices like all drunks do, but they had voices that were mellifluous to everybody else's ear. To compare these warriors against temperance with some of the modern era's, I don't know, Charlie Sheen or Lindsay Lohan, it's like comparing Lear on the blasted heath with a dog pissing up your trouser leg. It's a great shame, and I mourn his passing. Appropriately enough, I was actually I became aware of the death of Lawrence of Arabia, as it were, as I emerged from another epic, quasi-biblical theatrical production set in the Middle East and featuring a bunch of unknowns wandering around in tea towels. Whether my daughter's nativity play featured any great debuts, only time will tell. I would have to say, in all honesty, none of the performances struck me as particularly electrifying, unless you count the point at which the Star of Bethlehem wet herself and short-circuited her costume. You should have seen her little face light up. Here's my wonderful. Not that anyone did see it, of course, because as you all know, nobody actually watches anything like this anymore. They all just film it on their cameras or their iPhones or their iPads. There were so many people waving tablets around in the air, it looked more like Mount Sinai than Bethlehem, to be honest. Why is everyone so urgently obsessed with recording everything that they attend nowadays? Nobody watches anything. They just go, this is fantastic, I'll record it now. When are you going to watch it? If you don't have time to watch it now when you're actually there, when do you think will be more appropriate? And it's not as if we're any good at filming things, is it? I mean, seriously. We are rubbish. The general public has no training. You get wobbly zoom. Never zoom in, incidentally, on a child's face. That is creepy as fuck. The only chance anyone ever has of seeing this footage is on the 6 o'clock news in the most unsettling circumstances imaginable. The last thing you want people to be doing at that point is judging you on your poor camera work. But still, I was there at the back of the room with everybody else holding up my iPad. They were all filming and I was watching the cricket. And of course, there wasn't a dry eye in the house, but believe me, I was fucking inconsolable. I now have a reputation as the most sentimental, soft-hearted of parents. It was actually watching us get all out for 232 in the second innings, I think, but whatever. Not as bad as the last year, when I spent the entire production filming what turned out on closer inspection to be the wrong child. They all look the same once they've got a tea towel on their head and they're wearing a very unfamiliar expression of beatific angelic benevolence. actually wasn't the worst of it. The hardest part was trying to offer the subsequent footage to the parent of the child in question. That got very awkward. I wasn't even trying to make a profit, to be honest. I was only trying to cover my expenses. But you can now get an app which enables you to Photoshop, sort of superimpose your child's face over that of the child who actually played Mary, so that she can then be shown this footage later on and grow up in the belief that she was the popular girl in the class. It's, you know, it's a nice touch if you want to invest in that sort of thing. You've been marvellous. Enjoy your Christmas. See you through a drunken haze. See you again next year. Take care. Thank you very much. I need a drink. Good night.
Simon Evans. That's all from this series of Stand Up for the Week. You've been a great crowd.
Is not only are people having less sex, but what they are doing is having more intrepid sex. Now, I don't know what that is. That sounds to me like you're fucking Ray Mears, doesn't it? So you're going to wear anything sexy? Yeah, I've just been down to Millets. So...